Hey guys, there's Communications. Welcome to my review of The Heat, 2013 action buddy cop comedy flick, directed by Paul Feig, the director of Bridesmaids, and it stars Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. Now, I saw this in the theater. I remember watching the Red Band trailer and it looked like fun. The latest TV spots were kind of iffy, but I gotta be honest, I enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed The Heat a lot. I would probably say it's my favorite movie of the year so far, because it really wasn't a disappointment for me, because I wasn't expecting a lot in the action department, especially from the director. He's never done action before, so really wasn't expecting a lot of action. I was expecting something kind of along the lines sort of a 21 Jump Street, with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill, which I enjoyed a lot too. And that was basically what I got. A very funny buddy cop movie. It was more leaned towards the comedy aspects than it was, for example, the other, for the action. Although it would be nice to have, a nice blend of the two. But, I'm fine with the way the film is. Now, I don't really know for sure how the film will hold up because I enjoyed it a lot, had fun, laughed my ass off in the theater, as did a lot of people in the theater I went to see the film at. But I really don't know for sure, how a film holds up until I watch it a second time on DVD. So there might be another review after I pick it up on DVD or watch it again. Who knows? But maybe not. It depends on if my opinion changes in the film at all. Sometimes it does. I mean, there are movies I watched the first time I didn't like. I watched them again, I liked them. Or then I liked them the first time, I watched them again, and I didn't like it. So, the first time around can be kind of misleading sometimes. But The Heat, I enjoyed it. The film, like I was saying, the action isn't really much to write home about. I'll go more into that a little bit in depth later on. But there are some decent action sequences, on par with, for example, 21 Jump Street. The humor, there are so many the jokes come at a rapid pace. It's kind of hard to keep up. There are some I didn't catch because I was laughing so much and everybody else was laughing so hard I couldn't hear some of the jokes. So that alone is a reason to give this another watch, so I can catch some of the jokes I might not have caught the first time around. There are some jokes that didn't work, but that happens in every comedy. I don't think I've seen a single comedy movie that, even some of my favorite comedies, there's always a joke or a few jokes or so that just don't work. And that just happens. Comes with the territory with a comedy film. Now, Melissa McCarthy, people are saying, oh, she does nothing but this fat, foul-mouthed, stereotype or whatever character. And I'm like, I don't care. And for those of you who bitch about her being fat, shut up. I'm sorry. I hate that shit. She's fat. And I'm like, well, did anybody really say that to John Candy? Oh, he's fat. He needs to lose weight. Although, if he did, maybe he'd still be around. But still, nobody gave John Candy shit for being fat. People giving McCarthy shit for being fat need the STFU, in my opinion. Seriously. So, anyway, you're giving the human race a bad name with that shit. Stop it. So, I just think she's funny. I think she has some really great comedic timing. Some of the best I've seen in a while. I saw her in Identity Thief recently, too. She was funny in that. Ultimately, that movie was eh. I'd probably say I liked this a lot more than Identity Thief. Sandra Bullock, I would say I like Melissa McCarthy more than Sandra Bullock, but she had her moments. But Sandra Bullock was basically kind of just doing her Miss Congeniality character again. Those uptight, stuffy FBI agent who, once she loosens up, she becomes really fun, and entertaining to watch. But before that, just not so much. But that's part of her character. There are some repeated jokes that were... This is one joke I didn't really find that funny, is this whole talking about... She's using it in sign language, and the cops don't understand it. And I didn't find that funny. But there's some moments that are just, the plot isn't much to write home about. It's very generic, very by the numbers. You've seen it a million times, dealing with drug dealers and drugs. It's really not that complex in terms of a plot. But that just gives the movie more free roam to just focus on the comedy aspect. So I like that. The soundtrack, there are parts of it I like. There's other parts I'm like, I could do without. There's a fun little bit of Air Supply at a hilarious moment in a bar in the film. There's so the soundtrack, there's some modern songs, rap songs that I don't necessarily care for and I'm my cup of tea. But I like hearing Air Supply. It was a good, nice comedic effect. Air Supply was used for good comedic effect in this film. You have cameos by... You have, of course, Biff, Thomas F. Wilson, as Melissa McCarthy's character, Mullins, her police chief. And he's only has a little bit of screen time, but he's good for what is there. There's another joke I didn't care for, the whole use of guns to try to, as for comedic effect, like pointing guns at people, like Melissa McCarthy pointing a gun at like a nurse because she's using her cell phone near the end of the movie. I don't find that funny. But I do appreciate the film being edgy. I do appreciate that the Heat was not afraid to take chances and was edgy as fuck, which made it part of the reason why it made it so fun to watch, was that it was unpredictable. Like, I didn't know how far they were going to take this film. They took it very far. And also, for those of you who think that it's just a chick flick, it is probably more aimed at women, but I found it funny. As a guy, I found it really funny, and the funniest movie of the year I've seen so far. So there are some jokes that are definitely named more towards women, but there are still jokes in it that are just still funny no matter what gender you are. So it's not really a gender-specific film, in my opinion. This film disproves the trope that female buddy cop movies don't work. That this film actually works as a buddy cop film and as a comedy with the two female leads. I think McCarthy and Bullock had great chemistry, and that's really what the strength of the film and the crux of the movie is. Those two is the characters of Mullins and Ashford. Those are really the crux of the film, and they're the best parts of the movie. The other supporting sort of cast sort of stuff, I mean, not necessarily the most memorable sort of performances. You have, like, Thomas F. Wilson has little fun moments. Demian Bichir is basically Sandra Bullock's boss, doesn't really have much to do. Marlon Wayans plays it straight in this movie, which is really interesting. He doesn't really have a lot of moments where he's being funny. He's more of being sort of the straight role, which I thought was different. Michael Rapaport basically plays Melissa McCarthy's brother. He does a good job. He has a nice heart to his character. It's nice to see Jane Curtin from SNL, from classic SNL, as Mullins' mom. You have Michael McDonald, actually. He plays a killer. And Michael McDonald, as you probably know him from Mad TV, as Stewart and all those other sort of characters he played. And in this film, he did a good job. I thought I really wasn't expecting him to pull this off, but he did. There's some moments where he was supposed to be intimidating and creepy, and he pulled it off. And I gotta give Michael McDonald props for that. He really did. Now, there's a twist involving who ultimately the main bad guy is. I thought he was awful. I thought his acting was terrible. He did nothing for me at all. It's Taran Killiam. He's the great nephew of Robert Stack. Okay, alright. This guy he just did not do anything for me in terms of acting-wise. He ultimately, the twist is ultimately that he's the bad guy, the main bad guy. And I guess he was on one of the cast members from one of the last seasons of the Mad TV. But he just did nothing for me as an actor or as a personality or anything. I thought he was pretty poor, and one of my least favorite parts of the film was that character. Also, there was like a running joke dealing with an albino guy, which is more of a reference to, for example, movies like Foul Play with Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn, which you actually see a clip from in the movie, which I thought was a nice little, cameo, nice little touch. some of those jokes are funny, like namely some of the lines, like this guy's a dick, and so Melissa McCarthy calls him out, and he's all like, "Yeah, go back to your home to your wife. A 5-pound bag of flour with a hole in it. You fuck." And there's a lot of profanity in this movie. For so those of you who are prudes or don't like profanity, I don't know if you want to go see this movie, because it is definitely R-rated for a reason. There is just a shit ton of profanity in this movie, especially from Melissa McCarthy. And I just think people are saying like it's not funny, but I think it is, because I don't know. I find somebody who has great comedic timing, they can make swear words funny, and I think she does a good job with that. And it also is pretty funny to me when Sandra Bullock is trying to learn how to swear later, and then when she finally lets loose, and I thought that was pretty fun. I got a big laugh out of the audience too when she finally lets loose to these group of FBI agents near the end. And I thought that was pretty funny. I'm trying to remember exactly what words she was using, but they were funny. I like the moment, you saw it in the trailer. So any of you guys have seen the trailer, so this isn't really spoilers here. When she, it's like, when she's, I think you bought me a ring because we're engaged, motherfucker. Boom. So I enjoyed that. Now I would say there wasn't a lot of gunplay in this film, and when you see how much weaponry that Mullins has in a refrigerator in this movie, it's kind of a letdown in that respect. And when you think about the action aspects of the film does lack in that, because in terms of action, there really isn't a lot of really memorable action sequences. The car chases aren't much. There's even the engaged motherfucker sequence. It's a CGI explosion for some reason. I don't know why. It's like the one little bit of CGI in the movie is an explosion, which seems out of place. Even the sort of climax at the end is done more for comedic effect than actual thrills. But I appreciate the fact that the film is... I just thought it relied more on the comedy than it did on the action. But it really would have been a truly great film in terms of its genre if it did have memorable action to go along with the humor in it. For example, a film like Hot Fuzz. I thought that had good action sequences, and it had really funny moments in it. This had funny moments and funny lines, but the action was definitely really not up to par. So if you're looking for action in the heat, I don't think it's going to deliver it for you, especially for guys like me who've seen tons of action movies. And you could see that. And I guess the director of this film, he took the inspiration from Running Scared with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines, and you can kind of feel that sort of vibe a little bit in the film. But I would definitely say Running Scared at least had more memorable action sequences. So if he was taking inspiration from that film, he should have taken a little bit more inspiration from Running Scared and made it a little bit more action-packed, because the action in this doesn't even compare to, for example, the taxi cab chase on the railway, or even the shootout at the end of the film in Running Scared. But I enjoyed the humor. It was funny. Like, ultimately, okay, now I'm going into spoilers, folks. I can't really say that there's some... I mean, I was thinking about going into spoilers, but really, I don't think I really need to. For once, I really don't think I really need to go into spoilers here. I really don't know what else to say about the film. It's a comedy, so comedies are hard to really review, because what I might find funny, you might not find funny. And I really don't want to give away the jokes. So I think they're really clever jokes. So I want you guys to go support The Heat. If it sounded funny to you, go give it a look. If you don't like it, that's cool. But I enjoyed The Heat. I had fun with it. And it was money well spent. I had a fun time on 4th of July checking out The Heat. And yeah, that's my review of The Heat. Thanks for watching, and I'll check you guys later. See ya.